What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to basketball, and more importantly, welcome back to Ideal Offseason. This is the series where I put the GM cap on for a little bit and help a team navigate through their offseason. We try to keep this series as realistic as possible, meaning if we're looking at the Washington Wizards, and obviously they weren't that good this last year, but they have some promising young players, right? So we want to help guide them towards a better future. Whereas if we are the Los Angeles Lakers, we got Luka and LeBron, obviously we're trying to win a championship, right? And in this video, we're going to be tackling the Golden State Warriors. We're going to be taking a look at their roster, their salary cap situation, their draft picks, all while doing realistic trades, a realistic mock draft, going through free agency, using realistic numbers, all of this so that we can try to guide them towards a better season. But before we go and do that, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. I've responded to every single comment on my YouTube channel up to this point, and I intend to keep on doing so. Obviously, Ideal Offseason is back. It's the most popular series on my channel. I really don't think that there's many other people doing content like this on YouTube, so if you want to share it, give it some likes and everything, go watch the rest of the videos. I think it's definitely worth your guys' time, and also go watch my Do They Fit in the NBA series. They get demonetized every single time. It's really, really annoying, but people seem to like them. We make them educational and fun. You get to learn about all the different draft prospects. It's a pretty cool thing. But anyway, let's talk about the Warriors. And that brings us back to the Ideal Offseason spreadsheet. This is a really cool tool that I put together just to kind of help articulate and visualize the story that I'm trying to tell with Ideal Offseason. I build a lot of these spreadsheets on my channel. So the cool thing is, if you want access to this spreadsheet, you can actually get it. It's really simple. All you have to do is go to the link in the description, and you'll see a link to join my Discord. Once you click on that and you join the Discord, you go to the announcements channel, and it's going to be the first link that you see there. It's free. And you can post whatever you make on there in Discord, and we'll talk about it. So I don't know, I think it's a pretty cool thing, and it's a way for me to market to you guys extra. But anyway, let's talk about the Warriors. So the Golden State Warriors had an interesting season last year. They were coming into the year, and I remember going through and doing like the season preview of them, and I'm like, this roster isn't going to work. This is not going to work. We're looking at this. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. And they were finishing like exactly where we predicted them to be, just looking at like the team that they had. And with losing Clay, it was really unfortunate, but he obviously had other things to go do in Dallas, and that whole thing fell apart for him. But they then make the Jimmy Butler trade, and like always, when you add Jimmy Butler to your team gets infinitely better, right? And they didn't really have to give up a ton to go and get him either. So they go on this awesome run, they make the playoffs, and then they go and beat Houston in the first round, and then Steph Curry goes down against the Timberwolves, which effectively eliminates your chances of beating anybody after that, because once Curry goes down, that's just, there wasn't much of a basketball team left, right? They didn't have much of a bench. They're still struggling at the center position. Jimmy's trying everything he can to get going. Buddy Hield's trying to become college Buddy Hield again, and Draymond's doing Draymond things. But it's unfortunate that that's how it ended, right? The Timberwolves move on, and the Warriors are gonna roll it back with this team for the most part, right? And that's kind of what we're here to talk about. Is look, you have Steph Curry. How many years left do you have of Steph Curry? We don't know. Can't be very many. Draymond Green, same boat. Jimmy Butler, same boat, right? You've got this aging group of studs that in all likelihood can still contend for a championship. The West is extremely complicated and competitive, but I'd like to think that we can get this team there if we just supplement them with the right other pieces, right? There was also the whole Jonathan Kuminga situation. Obviously, these are just the current people on the roster right now, but we're going to address that in this video, I promise. So where we're going to start is we're going to start with going over like the current roster, and then we'll work our way through the salary cap and like our draft assets, and then we'll just kind of talk overall strategy for this video. What do we want to accomplish in it? What kind of moves are we thinking we want to make? And we'll start going at it from there. All right, so zooming in on the roster first. For those of you new to this series, these numbers right here are EPM numbers. What are EPM numbers? It stands for estimated plus minus. It's basically a statistic that we use to categorize people or rank people on offense, defense, and an overall. I've just indexed them so that we can compare them to everybody else in the NBA. So you can basically see 0 to 100 scores to how good somebody is at offense, defense, and then just like overall as a player compared to other NBA players, right? I'll always say in these videos, statistics do not tell an entire story ever. There is no perfect statistic out there, so don't take these as complete gospel, as you shouldn't with really anything. It's important to have people that can explain context behind everything, right? That's why ABC has a basketball analytics company, right? It's for reasons like that, right? But I do think that these are some of the best analytics and ratings out there, and it helps add context to the story. So that's why they are on the screen. But starting off at the top, we've got two very expensive basketball players, one named Steph Curry. I don't need to explain to you that Steph Curry is very, very good at basketball. And despite his very low defensive score right here, he is one of the best players in the NBA. I would actually argue that he's really actually pretty solid defensively. He's fallen off maybe a little bit more in the past couple seasons, but the Warriors have a very strategic use of bump off defense is what it's called, and that's a way to kind of help preserve him and stuff, and I think he plays it pretty well. Jimmy Butler, awesome on both sides of the basketball, right? Last year in particular, he had an awesome efficiency on the offensive end. So we love Jimmy Butler. Those two are two of the more expensive players in the NBA. It's going to make the rest of this video incredibly complicated. But you've got two really good players, and they won a lot of basketball games when they were on the court together. It's great to have a 98th and 97th percentile player in your team. Draymond Green, still elite defensively, 99th percentile, and an average offensive player at this point because of all the passing and stuff that he's able to do. Still good. You guys understand that. Moses Moody. There's an undertone to this video, which is a bit of disappointment in the Warriors. And let me explain this, because I've brought it up in a couple videos, but the Warriors, as great as they've been over the past like a decade or so, one of the most successful franchises we've seen over the past decade, and potentially the most decorated. One thing that they've really failed at is developing talent and adjusting game plans. They've had a couple pretty high and major draft picks over the past couple seasons. None of them have really worked out with the group, and we've heard countless stories of players being like, hey, like they run their style and they tell you fit in or don't, which in my opinion isn't the best way to coach things. I think you have to adapt to the type of players that you have. But I get it. You have Steph Curry. His system works for him. They've won 4 championships. Is what it is. Well, they don't have a ton of other players that have fit into their system for forever. One of them is Moses Moody, who, ironically, he's been one of the better ones to come out of it. Defensively, he's great. Offensively, certainly above average at this point. But I mean, he's had moments on this team where he's like, y'all need to trade me, man. I can't deal with this. Like, I'm not getting to play my style of basketball. Moses Moody's making about $11 million. He doesn't give us crazy production ever, so he might be a guy we look to move in this video. Then we have Buddy Hield, a guy that should fit in this offense really, really well, but I think that the team often misuses him a bit. Buddy Hield's what you would call a microwave scorer, and I think that there's two types of shooters in the NBA, kind of just a set shooter who they wait for their opportunities to come and they go at it, and then you have more of the microwave guys. Microwave guys have more of a range of possibilities as to what can happen in a game. The way you play with a microwave guy is you need to get him shots that he knows he's going to get early on in the game, meaning you need to run plays for him. And they did that at the very beginning of the season with Buddy Hield, and it went great. Then they stopped doing that and the performance dropped, and then they started doing that again in the playoffs, and you saw really high-level production again. I think you just need to make him more of a focal point of the offense, which you should. He can get you buckets, and you'll just know very early on if it's going to be a game for him or not. So that's Buddy Hield. That's the experience with him. One of the few not as good defensive players on the team. We understand that. Brandon Pajimski, he's got a team option. He got a lot better at the second half of this year. He started off the year pretty rough overall, but the offense kind of started to come around, and he started to get hot once Jimmy Butler joined the team. Makes a lot of sense, a lot less pressure on him. Defensively, awesome, right? He does a lot of great things for us. We'd like to keep him. He's on a cheap contract. We need cheap guys on this team because we have 2 guys taking up a majority of the salary cap, so we're going to accept his team option. We're going to want to keep him on the team. Trace Jackson Davis, young big man that Warriors fans were very, very excited about, kind of fell out of the rotation once Quentin Post came along. Not really like great at anything, not necessarily bad at anything either. And if we can keep him, sure, add him to the rotation. He's been in the system for long enough. Hopefully he's starting to learn it a little bit, and we're getting solid production out of him, right? I mean, he's in the 2/3 percentile of the NBA, so Cool, right? We're not going to complain about that. Guy Santos, he has a team option. I'm going to accept it. It doesn't mean I'm not going to trade him. I'm not so sure. But a guy with some decent size has shown he can shoot a little bit here and there. So, not a bad guy to keep on the roster. Again, knows the system, plays hard. I like Guy Santos. And then Quentin Post. If you guys remember my my big board from last year in the video that I did, Quentin Post was the last guy I put on the list. And what I kind of said about him was like, this guy's going to work if he falls to a very particular type of team. And I think I even said that, like, I don't know what that team is, but this guy's really smart. He could shoot the ball a little bit. So if the right team figures out how to use him, I think he could be an NBA player, but I'm not holding my breath about it. Well, he went to Golden State and was able to do what many other young players couldn't do. He learned the system. And he was like, okay, so I need to catch the ball, do handoffs, set screens for shooters, and then pass on cuts, pick and pop every once in a while, hit some threes. This is Warriors offense, and he does it, and he does it very well. Offensively, he's a pretty good contributor for this group. It's a 7-foot guy that can step out and hit a shot, pass the ball. He knows where to be in the offense. It's like having like a taller Draymond Green out there in some ways on offense, which is kind of cool, and probably even a better shooter. Well, definitely a better shooter right now. Defensively, he struggles a little bit. He's not the biggest dude in terms of like weight and muscle, so he's getting out muscled a bit down there. He's not the greatest rebounder or shot blocker, but I mean, you look at the numbers, it's not bad, and part of that is because when he joined the lineup, you had some really elite defensive players out there in Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and like pods and stuff like that, and that makes his life a lot easier. So I would actually suggest his defense is maybe worse than this number suggests, but he was a rookie. We're going to hope that he keeps getting better. This is a guy we definitely want to keep around because the Warriors have been looking for any size for forever, right? So we want to keep him around. Moving over to the cap space situation, this is going to be a topic of conversation throughout this video pretty consistently. So there are 4 levels to the NBA salary cap. If you want an in-depth explanation as to how they work, please go watch my Phoenix Suns video. It's the first video of the ideal off seasons this year. I go into a lot more detail about it there, but here's your very brief synopsis on it. First level is the cap space line. You'll see this is at 0. We've already crossed it, meaning we can only sign our own guys to like anything more than a minimum contract. Otherwise, if we want to go get someone from another team in free agency, we can only give them a minimum, right? Then we have the luxury tax space line. Once this were to hit 0, our team gets way more expensive. The Golden State Warriors are very familiar with that because they were contenders for a very long time and still kind of are, right? Then we get to the first and second aprons. These are newer to the NBA. These were put in place to try to make sure star players don't get traded quite as much. Obviously, the Dallas Mavericks went against that rule a little bit, but regardless, that's kind of the point of them, right? Is to put in all of these restrictions that once you cross these or these numbers hit 0, they make it very difficult for you to add more talent to your team, make trades, use other little exceptions. So you really shouldn't find yourself in these unless you're truly a contending team, because otherwise they're locking your team down, right? It's the only way to go is down from there. So you want to avoid these unless you're a contender. We're probably going to cross into these in some capacity in this video because we want to be a contending team, which means we have to pay good players to be on our team, right? We're going to try to minimize it as much as possible. So I'd like to avoid the second apron, but I would not be surprised if we ended up in the first in this video. So know that we've got about this much money, about $25 million to work with before we would have a problem with that. As far as draft picks go, it's not a bad group of draft picks considering the amount of talent we have on the team. We obviously need to add some depth, but we have the 41st pick this year. That's the only pick we have in this year's draft. I wouldn't mind adding another second-round pick to our arsenal this year, and here's why. Second round picks and late first round picks are great ways to fill out your roster with very, very cheap players. So we can add a 14th and 15th guy in our roster for really cheap if I can get us another second round pick. So that's something that I probably want to do in this video. We also have a couple of first round picks. I am down to use these if possible. There's only so many years left of Curry, and we owe it to him to get him the best possible team we can. So we are going to try to do that here. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do and how. I kind of figure that out as I go, but we're going to try our best. So goals for this video: add some more top-end talent. We got to add some more top-end talent to this team. It can't just be Jimmy and Steph being the scorers. We need something more on this team, right? We really, really do. We probably need to add some more ball handling on this team because I cannot watch another playoff series where the Warriors lose Steph Curry and they only have one point guard on the roster. How the hell does that even happen? We need to make sure we have more ball handlers on this team, right? Because Steph can play without the basketball too. That's the beauty of it. Whoever we add to this team needs to be smart. We made the mistake of bringing in a Dennis Schroeder, who I shouldn't say be smart, but that can adapt to our play style. We brought in Dennis Schroeder, awesome player. was not able to adapt to Golden State Warriors basketball, became a horrible player, and then he had to trade him again, right? So we need players that can fit here. It'd be nice if we can add a starter quality center as well. I'm not sure who that's going to be, but we'll kind of be on the lookout for stuff like that. And obviously depth and everything like that. The good news is we already have the two best players that you need, Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry. Hard to get better than those guys as you see the numbers here. But anyway, let's move forward to the trade portion of the video. Alrighty, and that brings us back here to Fanspo. Fanspo, for those of you not familiar, is a really cool site where you can do a bunch of mock trades, mock drafts, and they got a bunch of other little tools and resources on here. It's really, really cool, so go mess around with it yourself. I'm not sponsored or anything. I just like to point out that I think it's a cool website. But before we start making these trades, did you skip to this chapter of the video? You ignorant swine. Go back and watch the last 15 minutes of this. I read the analytics. I know that 65% of you skip to this part of the video because if you see, I just want to see the trades. I don't want to actually think about anything. I just want to swap the fun players around. Well, go back and watch because this is an educational channel and y'all gonna learn some shit today. You're gonna learn. But anyway, let's start talking about some trades. Before we can make trades, we got to know how many roster spots we're working with, right? So obviously it says that we got 6 roster spots remaining right now, but we have free agents that we have to worry about, right? And they are listed here, right? These are some of the guys listed as free agents for the Golden State Warriors. Who do we want to bring back? Gary Payton, he's been good for this team for a long time. I've got no reason not to bring Gary Payton back. He definitely has his use cases, just a weird, versatile, kind of Swiss Army knife type of dude. So I'm going to put Gary Payton right here. Obviously, another good defensive player as well. I would have to imagine Warriors fans want him back. Kevon Looney. Looney looked particularly slow this last year. He really did. He really, really did. I think I'm going to find another center. But if we need to bring back Looney, I'm not opposed to it just because he does know the system so well, right? So I'm going to put him on the list, and I'm not going to be afraid to take him off if I need to, right? Obviously, defensive monster, rebounding machine, right? It's just offensively not really doing a ton for you nowadays. Definitely can't play him a lot of minutes. Jonathan Kuminga. I'm going to guarantee you he's not going to be on the roster past this season, right? And let's talk about Jonathan Kuminga, but I'm putting him here because we're going to do a sign and trade with them. So Jonathan Kuminga's whole thing is, right, he is the primary example of the team's not going to adjust to fit his needs. He's not the most intelligent basketball player ever. He kind of just does his own thing when he's out there, which doesn't really contribute to winning basketball. But the Warriors aren't helping him out either. It's kind of a shitty situation. He even just felt completely out of the rotation despite being one of their best scorers at points this year. But when Curry went down in the playoffs, their offense goes out the window. They have nothing at that point, right? So they were like, all right, Kuminga, get back out there and just do what you do. We need someone to score. And he was like, all right. And he went and got buckets, right? That's what he does. He needs to be sent somewhere where he can learn and grow and just have free air to fly in, right? That's what he needs to do. He can't help us out because we're not winning a championship if Steph Curry's not playing. And if he's playing, Jonathan Kuminga can't get anything going productively for the team. So we're going to find somebody else to take him on. He's a valuable asset in some ways, right? Somebody's going to want him because of the talent that he possesses. It's just not going to be here. I'll be on record as saying, too, I don't think he's an all-star level guy, but I think he's very talented. Guy Santos, club option, we accepted that. Quentin Post, we're accepting that. Pat Spencer, interesting guy. I feel like Warriors fans are going to hate me for this. I don't want to bring back Pat Spencer. I love the effort he brings, and I know you like him because he has a fun mustache, but that doesn't excuse the level of production that you really get out of him. I just don't think is all that great. And look, we're already going to bring on most likely 1 to 2 second round guys this year, so I don't personally feel the need to bring back Pat Spencer. I know he had a couple of good moments for you. I know. I don't feel the need to do that. So if we need another roster spot at the end, we'll come back to it, but let's start talking trades. The first thing we need to do is do a sign and trade with Kuminga. Now, there's a couple different places we can send Kuminga, and we've done it in a couple of the videos already. I think it was in the Nets and Jazz video we've featured him, and so this will probably be one of the last ones that he's featured in. But teams that I think we could send Jonathan Kuminga to: the Bulls, almost certainly; the Nets, yep; the Hornets, yep. I doubt the Wizards, not any of these teams, not the Nuggets, Clippers, Timberwolves. Grizzlies, I doubt it. Kings? Maybe the Kings. We'll investigate that one. The Dallas Mavericks, no. The Suns? No, almost certainly. Trailblazers, no. Spurs, no. Pelicans, probably not. Jazz, yeah. So there's a couple teams that we could probably send him to, right? I want to explore all of those and see, because this is the Warriors video, right? And we've done a couple Kuminga trades, but it's my job to find the best one for him. So let's kind of work our way through this. We'll start with the Jazz, and Jonathan Kuminga, we're going to sign him to, we're going to presume what we've been doing in the other videos is about $25 million over 4 years. He's not quite going to get that $30 million that a lot of like the young up-and-coming stars get because he has been inconsistent in some of his playing time, and we know some of the issues that he has, but the talent, again, is undeniable, so let's just say we're giving him the 25 mil, right? We're giving him the 25 mil. By the way, are there any other guys I need to like adjust on here? I don't think so. I think we kept all of these dudes. Cool. And we're probably going to bring these guys back in some capacity as well, and they've got the cap hold, so we'll figure those out at another time. But Kuminga's coming back for about this much. Instantly, I think I wouldn't mind adding John Collins to this team. I think he's not the center option that we need, but he's a big that has played center, that can step out and hit threes. If you haven't been watching John Collins over the past like couple seasons in Utah, he's actually been really good and really productive. Like defensively, he's more than competent. He's not going to be like an elite shot blocker, but he's a great athlete, so he can. He's a good lob threat, which Curry and Butler both like to play with. So I think that that's an option. It'd be a pretty straightforward swap. We might include like a little bit else to make it happen, but so that's if we want John Collins. We looked at other teams in the West. We said maybe the Kings, because the Kings are going to be desperate to get off of some people. I don't know if we'd be able to bring, because I'd be looking at like the Malik Monks, like a Keegan Murray. I'd love to get like a Zach LaVine or like a Domantas Sabonis on this team, but I just don't think I can take on that kind of salary. Well, I can almost promise you I can't. But is it worth taking on some combination of like Keegan Murray, who would be a really cool option for us at kind of the power forward spot, along with a Malik Monk to go get another scorer? Maybe, because I have to imagine the Kings are going to be in somewhat of a teardown mode. But I don't know. They're in a weird situation. I think them and the Bulls are in like the worst couple spots in the NBA. Let's take a look at the Hornets. The Hornets' interesting one is going to be if we want to go after Mark Williams. This could be the center we're looking for. Mark Williams' numbers. Let me just pull them up on the sheet so you guys can see what we're talking about here. Mark Williams' numbers are going to shock you, right? Like offensively, really good. Defensively, pretty bad. And these actually were like way lower. And he had a really big resurgence kind of after the failed trade to the Lakers, right? Where his effort increased dramatically. And that was the problem, right? Is his effort was just garbage, which he's a young guy. He's playing for the Hornets, which has just been kind of a disaster organization for forever now. I can understand it, right? I really can. He's super talented. We know he should be a good defensive player, right? Offensively, he knows what he needs to do. He gets a ton of rebounds, blocks shots, really just ultra talented guy to play the center, right? You have to imagine that the Hornets are going to look to move him again just because of the whole situation. I mean, maybe not. Maybe they've reconciled it, but like, look, it's awkward, right? You're like, okay, this team tried to trade me for Dalton Connect. They clearly don't really believe in me long term. It probably wouldn't be the worst thing for the franchise to move on from him. And he's not going to go for like a bunch of picks like the Lakers were going to give, because now the word is out that like, hey, his physicals are really rough, which if you guys are curious about those physicals more, you can ask me about them. I'm pretty informed on those, actually. You can ask them down in the comments below or something. I'll kind of explain it all to you, but he'd be a guy to go for, and you could also maybe walk away with like a Josh Green and get some bench help with that. So that's potentially an option. We look at Brooklyn, which I just recorded the Nets video as well today. I can't remember exactly what we did here, but I believe we just took on Cameron Johnson slid over here, and I think there was also like a Deron Sharp trade as a part of that included Guy Santos. So in this world, we could get Cam Johnson, who very, very good NBA player. He's always healthy, which is a big part of it, right? You take on Mark Williams, he could go down at any moment, right? And that's kind of the scary part. Cameron Johnson stays pretty healthy. He's an incredibly smart and adaptable basketball player, so he'd probably fit in the system really well. You could pick up a Deron Sharp as well in the deal that we used before, so you get another center added to the rotation that could be kind of valuable because he's a little bit bigger. Again, a rebounding guy, which we've been missing on this group, so interesting option there. Very interesting option. The other one we said was the Bulls, right? What would the Bulls exactly give us? Because look, they're looking for young, talented people, right? They just are. They're also a really easy organization to take advantage of in terms of trades. I look at this as like, I don't think they're giving up Kobe White. I just don't really think so. As much as I wouldn't mind adding Kobe White to this system, Kobe White is also kind of an erratic basketball player, and I don't think he would translate very well to our play style. So what does that kind of leave us with? It's like a Lonzo Ball and Jalen Smith thing, but maybe we get some picks from them as well in that instance that we could use in another trade. I don't know. I'd be curious, out of kind of the options that I laid out, like seriously, go leave me a comment as to which ones you think would be, which ones you would think would be the best. The Kings one really intrigues me. The idea of adding like a Keegan Murray, Malik Monk, but like, is swapping Keegan Murray for Kuminga really a huge difference? I don't necessarily think so. So I feel like that's going to be a harder one to talk myself into realistically. So I feel like the Nets option is probably the best one overall with this. The problem is we might have to give up some sort of pick to them as well in order to make that trade happen, which this 20-30 I don't care that much. Like we can do something like that. So maybe let's just explore this one, right? And so this one included Deron Sharp. And again, so this is somewhat of a repeat from the last video. And I try not to do that so that it can keep it fresh and entertaining for you guys. But I do think that's a pretty interesting trade. So let's take Deron Sharp here. Nice 6'11", 265-pound center. That's exactly what we're looking for. Doesn't give us the starting center necessarily, but I want to explore it. Or what if I do just throw a wrench in things, and I am interested in the Hornets thing a little bit more. Let's think this through just a little bit deeper, because I'd like to add Mark Williams to this group. I would. I think that'd be really cool. That's the starting center that we really need, right? How else are we getting another scorer then? Is the question. Are we able to take a Moses Moody and turn him into something else first? Is the question. Maybe I'm doing this out of order. Let's explore Moses Moody first and see if I can't turn him into something, right? So Moses Moody's making about $11 million. Am I able to find a scorer? This is a list of all the contracts here. Am I able to find a guy of a comparable contract to Kobe White? Ironically, oh boy, AVC, watch yourself. Is there any way that I can go find us like a third scorer to add to this team so that I can also go get Mark Williams? And what we'll have to compare is, would we rather have Cameron Johnson and a backup center, or would we rather go get a starting center and like a Josh Green or something? Because I think both of those are viable deals. I really do. Cole Anthony's not exactly what I have in mind for this. There's Josh Green again. Herb Jones would be cool. Austin Reeves. I don't think they're trading Austin Reeves. I don't want Jordan Clarkson. I'd love Denny Advia. I'd love that. I can't imagine Portland's trading him after this last season. Dorian Finney-Smith, Naz Reid. Naz Reid would be sick on this team. It really would. He hasn't had to play in an offensive system since he got to the NBA, though. I'm just looking through. Is there any way I can do a Malik Monk deal here? Is there any way? Because Malik Monk's probably not all that keen on being there now either, right? Like, they got Keon, and they're going to need some point guard help at some point. Maybe we help them save a little bit of money. Where are the Kings at with things? Because maybe we can still make a deal happen. They've got space to make something happen. What do we have to do to add Malik Monk to this group, right? So we send him over to the Warriors. This is our 6-man score that we're looking for right here. We're sending you back Moses Moody. You get a young player, right? It's interesting. You get a defensive player that you've been looking for, because this team was pretty rough defensively, and you save some money in doing so, because you're probably not going to be that competitive. You're trying to tear this team down anyway. You might as well take the young guy. Are you getting a first-round pick for Malik Monk? You might get a protected first-round pick, right? You might. You just might. Or are you getting something else, right? Are you getting something else? That's where this gets complicated. Or do you do some sort of pick swap? Like, is that more valuable? Say, like, you get a pick swap in this year. That way we can still keep the pick. Potentially, because 5 years from now, the Warriors probably not going to be that great, right? So by 2030, let's say, we don't actually have the 2031. So 2028 it would have to be. That's only a couple years down the line. Like, you might still be competitive at that time. I'm really trying to work through if this is fair and makes sense. I don't want to just give them a first round pick for this. I don't think that that's the best way to go about it. So I think I'm going to move off of Malik Monk. Colin Sexton, on the other hand, Now that's interesting to me. Now that's interesting. That guy can go get some buckets. He can't play any defense, but he's another ball handler as well. So we might be able to service this in two ways. So we give him Moses Moody, a guy at a position that they need, young guy, save them some money, right? We take on 1 year of Colin Sexton right here. Just let me play around with this. So how much more do we have to send over? 7.6 million still. Oh boy. Okay. So what if, let me just mess around with this really quick. Like, so that's still like 5.3 million right there. It's going to be too much money, isn't it? Because now all of a sudden I have to give up Buddy Hield as well. I'd like to hold on to Buddy Hield. If after the Kuminga trade, I go and do Mark Williams and Josh Green, how much are they? Like, let's just straight up make this the 3-team trade to see how short we are at this point, right? So let's bring all of the context into this, because I like this idea in principle. So we send Josh over here. We send Mark Williams over here to the Warriors. And in this world, and the reason we take on Josh Green is they really don't need Josh Green at this point. They're going to take on VJ Edgecombe, most likely with their draft pick. They get Kuminga, and they've got the most athletic, fun, first four ever on this team. So we send him over to the Hornets here. How off are we still with this? Oh my God, it works. Oh my God, it works. It works. Okay, do we need to throw Guy Santos into this? It's not even that I necessarily care to trade him. It's just they probably don't want to take up any more roster space than they have to. So then it fails. So we need to cut another 1.2 million. Can we send Guy Santos over to the Hornets instead then? Can we do that instead? Let's do that for a second, right? Where did my boy Guy go? Send him over there to the Hornets. There you go. You get a cheap guy on your roster. Very good, very good. So this works. This financially works. Cool. Now we need to address who owes who some draft picks, right? Who owes who some draft picks. We traded Jonathan Kuminga for Mark Williams. Jonathan Kuminga more valuable than Mark Williams at this point. After everything that's gone down, he's on the last year of his contract. We know that he's broken. Hopefully we can make sure he doesn't actually break. But we know how good of a player he can be, right? You guys get Kuminga, and you guys have a really awesome group there. So I don't think any draft picks need to be included. We're also saving you some money and taking on Josh Green, who's a very solid player. I just don't think you need the draft picks here. I think that that's fine. Colin Sexton for Moses Moody. The Jazz need young players. They also probably have draft picks that they can't use this year. They have the 43rd pick. Give me this second round pick, because I'm saving you quite a bit of money by taking this on. You get the young guy in it. Give me this. Like, I want my second round pick as well. And I think that that's all you really have to do to make this happen. Let's review one more time. The Hornets get the most valuable guy in this right now in Jonathan Kuminga. You get to experiment with him, do whatever you want with him. LaMelo plays street ball anyway, so maybe him and Kuminga, throw them along with VJ and Brandon Miller. You're going to have to figure out the center position, but just use Nurkic for now. It's fine. And I think that that's fine for them. The Jazz save a shit ton of money. They get Moses Moody, a young guy in a position that they need, right? So he gets to go somewhere else because he doesn't even want to be here anyway. We get Mark Williams, who we're the ones assuming all the risk here. Mark Williams might break himself. He might not, right? But hopefully he's going to be serviceable for us, and all he has to do is run, jump, dunk, block shots, all that type of stuff. We get Josh Green. He's used to playing in systems. He's a smart guy. He's also very active. He always is towards the top of the league in how many miles he's running during a game. So that's a good guy to have, whether he's coming off screens or he's setting screens, just being a strong defender, because we lost Moody. He replaces Moody. Cool. Get Colin Sexton. Very, very good offensive player. Very bad defensive player, but gives a good effort every night. But we're going to have other good defenders around him, so I feel okay about that. We got our other second-round pick to get us a cheap player. I feel good about this. I think this is the trade right here. So what happened? Let's address all of this. So Kuminga is not here anymore. He is not here anymore. We don't have Guy Santos either, and we don't have Moses Moody. What we now have is Mark Williams right here, and who else did we just had? Colin Sexton. That's where this team starts to get a little bit expensive. And then who was the other person we added? Josh Green. We added Josh Green to the team. Oh, he just avoided the apron. Look at that, 71K off. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so you two no longer on the team. No longer on the team. And by the way, if you want to put Pods here, I don't give a shit. Put Pods there. Colin Sexton, you're coming off the bench as kind of our backup point guard. Can also he's a combo guard, right? That's what he is at this point. He can handle the rock for us, which is good, and he can go get us some buckets. Cool. We've got our super 6-man scorer. We love that. Quentin Post, you're gonna move to our bench right here. I'm gonna move Mr. Trace Jackson Davis here, and I'm gonna move Marky Mark right here. I don't have a picture for him. Oh, look at that movie magic. I fixed it. Brilliant, 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 brilliant. By the way, the Warriors just became like the most fun 2K team ever by adding like Mark Williams to it. But okay, Josh Green is on the team now. Cool. We like that. He plays like another wing position for us here. Gary Payton can also kind of slide in there. I don't really care the order of them. Kevon Looney, I don't need you anymore, so we're going to open up a roster spot that way. You're not going to be on the team anymore. I'm sorry. It is what it is. I'm rolling with Mark, Quentin Post, and Trace Jackson Davis. I might come back to you, though, because with Mark Williams on the team, I don't want to just be left with Post and Trace Jackson Davis. This is a team that I'm going to want to have 4 centers on. But anyway, we also acquired a draft pick, right? What was this draft pick that we got specifically? It's Dallas's 2nd-round pick right here. So let's just throw the Mavericks, 25 second. What pick is it? It's number 43. So we've got pretty close picks now. This is cool. Okay, do we want to trade anybody else? I don't want to trade any of these guys. I'd personally prefer to keep Buddy. I think the upside of him is good. Pods and Buddy are kind of the opposite of each other, which I kind of like. Have a little bit of synergy with that. No, all the rest of these guys I want. We'll pay Gary Payton later. He's not going to get a ton of money, but he's going to get a little something something. So this is good. We've got $11 million to work with, 4 roster spots left. Let's go draft 2 of them right now. Alrighty, and this brings us to the Fanspo mock draft, a really cool thing that'll kind of help us simulate and keep it realistic as to what players might be available here while having a little bit of randomness as well. So again, if I need to go get another big, I'm not going to draft one most likely. I'll just bring back Looney if I need to, because again, he's not going to get a huge contract. He's just probably going to get a minimum out of us. Need another point guard on the roster, because again, I'm not letting that happen where there's no point guards on the roster. Probably need some more size at the forward spot, right? Because right now we've got Jimmy Butler. Josh Green is strong, but he's only about 6'5". Gary Payton played point guard in college. So, take that as you will, right? So we need some size at the forward spots. I'd be cool with both of these guys kind of being a similar player. That way, we're kind of taking 2 swings and being like, one of these guys has got to be something, right? So that's kind of how I want to attack that. So, all right, we're coming up to our pick right here, and here we go. Okay, Ian Jackson, not quite the forward we want. Dink Pate is here. Dink Pate, 10 out of 10 athlete, can handle the rock a little bit, solid defensively, can't really shoot the basketball, but he's been playing in the G League for a couple years, so he's got a little bit of professionalism in him, right? And he's been playing in some modern offenses and stuff down there at times. Sometimes the G League is a little bit chaotic as well. So I don't hate that pick at all. Alex Condon is here, kind of meh, not really too interested in that. Kobe Brea is here. I feel like we take Kobe Brea in every video. But like, I feel like he's one of the sleepers in the draft class. I mean, the point of Ideal Offseason is for me to make something that makes sense. And what can he do? He's 6'7", and he shoots the shit out of the basketball. He's possibly the best shooter in this draft class. So you know what? I feel like those are probably the 2 we want to go. So let's start with at least Dink Pate, because like 6'8", strong athlete. He's going to run up and down the court for us. It's good for us to have some young guys on the team that can do that, get us some easy buckets if we ever have to throw them in. So let's take Dink Pate first. Alrighty, so we're going to throw Dink Pate on here. This is what his 2nd-round pick deal would look like. It's nice that we can give those guys like 4-year contracts now. It's actually pretty damn valuable. I'm just going to throw him here for the time being just because. So we took Dink Pate. Alrighty, now just a couple picks later, we're up again, and this is where I look at Kobe Brea. Man, I'm going to keep scrolling just to see if I'm missing anything else. Just looking through really quick, as much as I would love to add, like, where is he? Grant Nelson here. I think I'd rather have the shooter in it as well, because while Jimmy Butler's a fine shooter, Josh Green has been fine at points. It'd be nice just to have another sniper on the team, right? So I think we're just going to go Kobe Brea. I'm sorry that I keep taking him all the time, but I think he's a sleeper. in this draft. So we're gonna add Kobe Brea as well with our final pick. Alrighty, so Kobe Brea here is going to get the exact same contract. And again, the reason we took both of these guys, let's just, I don't know, throw him here as another guard, but he can play the 3 too if he needed to. The reason we wanted those 2 draft picks right here that we've now used is we just spent like $2 million to fill 2 roster spots. This is awesome because we're getting close to the second apron and we're going to be able to avoid it, which is great. But it was cutting it close, so I wanted to make sure. I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to avoid it. Actually, it's actually pretty damn close. But we wanted these 2 to try to avoid the second apron, and that's why we did it. So this is good, right? We've got some semblance of like a starting 5 here between Curry. Maybe it's probably Pods. I'd like it to be Buddy, but they'd probably go Pods. You got Jimmy Butler, you got Draymond, you got Marky Mark. We're excited about that. You got Quentin Post. Feel really good about Quentin Post in his second season. You got a Josh Green and a Gary Payton that you can go to, right? And again, off the bench, either Buddy, Hield, or Pods. Colin Sexton and I don't even know who would be the other 6 man here. Colin Sexton's the 6 man though. He's going to get bucket source. Duke could get close to 20 points a game if you let him to, or if you let him. Let's look at his numbers, right? 91st percentile offensively, 3rd percentile defensively. But we've got enough solid defenders around him to where I'm not tripping about that at all. So now that we've done that, let's move on to free agency because we've got a guy to sign in Gary Payton and 2 more roster spots to fill. Alrighty, so starting with Gary Payton, I think what I want to do is, I feel like he deserves more than a minimum. Like, I really, really do. But that limits me then on how close I'm getting to here. Like, I want to give him, like, $4 million or something, right? He's not going to get another, like, $8 million deal. And honestly, like, we don't even have to bring him back. But, like, he's just a good guy to have on this team. Like, he knows the system. He plays his ass off. Like, I like him a lot. So if I gave him $4-ish million for 2 years, right? That's probably the most anybody else is going to give him. We kind of know that he only plays well on the Warriors, too. That still leaves us $5 million to work with. We can sign 2 other minimum contract guys for that, I believe. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. He gets $4 million here. There's no option. You get it for 2 seasons, so you get a little bit of stability, Gary Payton, in case something goes wrong for whatever reason. Knock on wood, we hope that doesn't happen. Cool. I still need a center, and I need another point guard. That's what I need out of this. I've got enough other guys. I don't need this one open anymore. Leave. So let's go to all teams, and let's just take a look at centers first. Looking at who's on the team, we need a veteran center for this group. We need a veteran center, and just to see like minimum salary projections, if we go and get like a really veteran center, it's going to cost us about 3.3 to 3.6 million. So we would have to get somebody like 4 years or less in terms of like the point guard position, which I'm not tripping about, but we just have to be strategic as to how we do this. Hey, Tab, I need you to go back where you were before. Let's throw that back up there. There we go. So who's it gonna be, right? Let's just see what centers are out there, right? Because if we gave it to Kevon Looney, he's gonna be the top end of that, right? Let's just look through years of experience quick. Oh, this isn't even accurate. Okay, well, I wish I wouldn't have done that, so we're just going to ignore that. DeAndre Jordan, no, not quite. I'd probably just rather bring back Looney. It's not going to be these guys. I would love to add Steven Adams to this group. I have to imagine he's going to be staying in Houston. Who else is there? I actually like Vukic, but I don't think we're going to get him. Jackson Hayes, does he have 7 years of experience already? No way. Really? Is Spot Track just like off with that? Has Jackson Hayes been around that long? Am I that old? No, he's been here 5 years. So what's going on with that? I'm not trying to add Jackson Hayes. I'm just a little bit caught off guard by that. Okay, so that's inaccurate. Thomas Bryant, still not exactly what I'm looking for. Again, I'm looking for someone with more experience than that. It's not going to be Jericho Sims, right? I'm not adding Alex Len. I'm not adding Bismack Biyombo as much as I want to. I really do want to. Is it Kevon Looney? I don't know. By the way, the Brook Lopez thing, like I'm sure that could be interesting in a sign and trade. I just didn't really explore that, but I think it would be interesting. I like the Mark Williams thing maybe a little bit better, but I'm acknowledging that there's more risk in what I'm doing. How do I want to do this? Do I just have to bring back Kevon Looney? It's not the worst thing. I mean, we did add more size. Like, seeing who's available, I think we just go Kavan, most likely, and we just give him the minimum that he deserves, because at least he knows the system, right? And we know he'll play his ass off. So let's give him his 3.6 right here. There you go, my boy. Eat it up. Num, 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 num. So good. We've got 2 million. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Okay, so this is where it gets complicated, right? That's too much. We just can't, because now I have to sign like an undrafted rookie or 1 year 2048 right here. 20, no, it's too much already. So I don't think I can do Kevon Looney. It needs to be someone with less than like 10 years of experience or something. So who is that? Oh boy. Okay, I'm gonna figure this out. What about Marvin Bagley? 6 years, he can play the center. He's bouncy. He's been around at least a little bit. He's not the most experienced guy ever, but he'll also probably be hungry, right, to try to prove himself. We can sell him on the idea of like, look, our big man rotation is definitely not set in any way. You can beat these two out if you really want to, as much as I like Quentin Post, and I think you'll be fine, and Mark could go down at any given moment, and then we really need you, so I think that we sell him on that. So give me Marvin Bagley. Let me go get a 6-year guy here, so give me that. And instead of Kevon Looney, we're adding Marvin Bagley. I would have liked to have added Kevon, but this is how we have to do it. So I'm gonna throw Marvin Bagley here, and then I'm gonna throw Trace Jackson Davis there, just because that's how I view it. But do it however you want to do it. And then this is now more so that much. Now we have 2.7 to work with, which means that we can go get anybody 5 years or less and just barely skim by. So now we need some sort of guard, right? So let's go find a guard with less than 5 years of experience that we can throw on this team that could maybe play point guard, right? There's Trey Jones. He's going to get a little more money than that, so I don't see that as an option. Davion Mitchell, he's going to get more. Aaron Holiday. How many years of experience does Aaron Holiday have? Because I don't mind Aaron Holiday. Again, we're working with limited assets right here. He's got 6. Damn you, Aaron Holiday. Damn you to hell. I don't know. I'm so mad about it. Seth Curry, too many years of experience. Dinwiddie, Alec Burks, Dante Exum. How many years of I don't want Dante Exum being my backup or an extra point guard. I really don't. DeLon Wright, no, he's been around too long. Monte Morris probably been around too long. At least I presume so. Ty Jerome, I'd love to. Jordan McLaughlin. How long has Jordan McLaughlin been around? I know he's not the perfect option, but let's take a look at this really quick. How many years do we have of him? Oh my gosh. 5 years of experience. Okay, Jordan McLaughlin's an option. I'd like to find something better if I could. I'm not doing Alfred Payton. Markelle Fultz. I'm down for Markelle Fultz. How many years? Fultz has to have been in the league longer than that, though. 100% he has been. Yeah, it's 7. So you can go with Bones Highland. That's not exactly what I want either. Jalen Hood-Schifino, definitely not. I'm not bringing back Pat Spencer. I need someone that can actually handle the basketball. Okay, Our answer is apparently Jordan McLaughlin. Do I even have him, like, in the system here? I do. So there's Jordan McLaughlin. We need another point guard. We're going to try to find a better solution later in the season. If we cross into the second apron during the season, that's not as big of a deal because people will come off of contracts at this point, right? And look, I just need another point guard on the roster in case something catastrophic happens for a couple weeks, right? So we get this right here, which that works just barely, right? So we do that 1 year, boom, 114K. That is precision right there. That's why you come to AVC's channel, for precision moves like this. That's what we're here for. But anyway, this right here is your 2025-2026 roster. And now there might be incentives and stuff that might mess with this, but we don't know that for certain. These videos have to be somewhat entertaining. But anyway, your 2025-2026 Golden State Warriors. Let's recap. What did we do? We used our draft picks this year to fill in some really cheap roster spots here. Will they get to play? Probably not, but they're here in case we need them. We like the options we went with. We solidified the center center spot with Mark Williams, and we have a couple other guys there just in case. We are not going to be centerless anymore. No longer are the days of the centerless Warriors. Oh, I didn't even put Jordan in the rotation there. We went and added some other ball handlers to this team so that we could have them. Colin Sexton's going to be our super six man coming off the bench. We added a little bit more depth in Josh Green as kind of a cheaper way to have a defender, three-point shooter option at the wing. We're maybe a little bit small, but it is what it is. This team should be competitive between Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond. They've got solid options at other positions around them. I think this will be okay. You got 3 guys that can get you 20 points. You got rebounders and shot blockers now. This can work. This team could win you a championship. But anyway, I'm curious to hear what you guys think, because this is a more complicated one, and I think there is a bunch of avenues to explore. So let me know that down in the comments below, but let's move on to the comments of the video. All right, y'all, comment of the video is coming from the Houston Rockets Ideal Offseason video. As always, go watch all the other Ideal Offseasons. They're a lot of fun and hopefully a good way to pass your time during the day doing whatever it is that you're doing. As well, please go watch my Do They Fit in the NBA series. We've got a couple more episodes of that coming out over the next like 2-ish weeks that I've pre-recorded, and you should be all ready for the draft by the end of watching them. But anyway, the comment to the video comes from Joseph Titus here that says, AVC, I don't think I'd give up Reed Shepherd for Giannis. Winky face, winky face. Oh, that's so nice. And I liked this. I liked these other comments around it, so that's why I grabbed it. Stan Man said, I haven't responded to this one yet, but he said, AVC, there's my comment for your algorithm, Pookie. I am no man's or woman's Pookie. I don't know who you are or what you are, but I'm not sure, Pookie, but thank you for boosting the algorithm. And then another one here from Arrowman Car, maybe that's supposed to be. AVC, I watched the video, but I'm just commenting this so that you get the comment. But where is the ideal offseason spreadsheet? So yeah, do something like that. Well, thank you for boosting my algorithm, and you can get the ideal offseason spreadsheet by going to the description just like this, joining the Discord with this link, and going to the announcements channel. It's completely free, and download it. So yeah, thank you guys for all the comments. Leave me some comments. You'll get a response from me every single time. It's a cool thing. I really like being able to do that on the channel. A quick reminder, because we do have a lot of new viewers, the rules of the comments, just basically don't be an asshole and try to put some thought into things, because I just don't have time for the stupid comments that are like, EVC, I want Giannis and Durant on my team, or I'm not trading Reed Shepherd for Giannis. Like, okay, yeah, I don't have time for you and your 2 brain cells that every once in a while clack together and form words. But anyway, no, seriously, I appreciate you guys as always. We're going to be getting out like at least 7 videos a week for the next couple weeks. So hope you guys enjoy that. And yeah, we'll talk later. Thanks so much. Bye.